Let's take a little side step. We'll come back to this. I want to get the calculator to tell us exactly what the right answer is. And I am not right, but doing it by hand, I'm pretty close. So let's go back to this other sheet real quick. So what I've done on the back is I created, so I want to do this one with you guys. Then I'm going to have you guys do this one, and then we'll go back to that sheet with the line we just made. So the way to start calculating this is to put all this data into your lists at the same time. So you're going to have list 1 is your years, list 2 is the grades. So if you don't have a calculator, there's some more up here. So I'm just going to go into my lists, clear out the first 2 at least, and just start entering data. Do you think I should sort my data?
No.
Hell no. Why not? Because 1 is supposed to go with 86, and 0.5 is supposed to go with 98. These are points. The minute you start sorting the lists, you start taking them out of pairs, and everything in the universe becomes a straight line, which is kind of crazy. Cool. All right. So already got those in there. All right. So let's make this calculator tell us some stuff. If I want to plot statistics, can anybody see somewhere to go to make it do that? Where do you normally go to just plot a function? If you want to plot y equals negative x plus 22, what would you push? What button? Y equals, right? So then you put y equals in there. Well, what's right above that? Step line. So hit second, y equals. So ready to this menu that wants to play along. Yes. Everybody do this for me real quick. Hit number 4, enter. Just to make sure we turn all of the plots off. We don't want multiple plots on. Plots off, done. Is everybody with me? Huh? Whatever works. No Avengers Assemble. Just turn off the plots. Go back to stat plot. Yeah, exactly. I see. Plot. All right. Let's everybody do plot 1. Turn that bad boy on. Just hit enter on top of the form. Bam, it's on. Start to really, really hate me because you can see the calculator make histograms and box plots. Too bad. If you just read your manual, it's amazing what you'll find out, but or don't and then learn. I always pick the so X list is L1. My number of years is going to be the x-axis. The number, the grade is going to be the grade is going to be on the y-axis. Is everybody with me so far? Make sure you got the scatter plot. So what we're going to make is the picture on front of this sheet. We're going to recreate that picture. Yes. Go stat plot. So second y equals. See there, it's right above y equals. So it's second y equals. You got it? And then make sure that plot 1 is the only one that's on. And go in there and turn that bad boy on. Make sure it's a scatter plot, that first one. L1, L2, you can pick what symbol to put on top of your data points. I'm obviously a square. You could be positive. You could be a small speck in the universe, or you could be an even smaller speck in the universe. It's up to you. If you have the newer one, you can change the color. Ooh. Too many options. Now watch this. If I hit graph, is everybody with me on that? Everybody up to date with that? Who's got that set? If you hit graph, it's going to be a little, what? It's because if you hit graph, it goes to the window it's set at. It's almost always set at -10 to 10, -10. So what I want to do is this every single time. And if you'll notice, all the instructions are right there. And all these instructions I took from the calculator guide that is up on the website. It's amazing. So you know exactly how to do this shit. So what I want to do, every time you put new data in, you want to tell the calculator to zoom into your statistics. So of course, which one will I use?
Zoom stat.
Yeah, it's crazy. For me, it's number 9. For most of you guys, it should be number 9. It depends on if somebody's been messing with your software. So if you hit number 9, it zooms in on the statistics. All right, let me stop here for a second. Please, dear God, let me know if you can't get to this image. If it doesn't look like this, if it looks really weird and you see like a point or something, you might have entered some data wrong. You might have put 8 instead of 80 something, and that's really going to throw the picture off. Is everybody with me so far? Okay, I like it. So we've recreated this. Which one was it, Jeff? There it is. This picture here. Is that picture? No. This picture, there you go. Oh yeah, it's beers and grape. So I tried to recreate it as best as I could. I kind of stretched it out a little bit. So what's missing is, so got this scatter plot. Now I want to see if the calculator can do 2 things for me. In this section, this chapter is one place where it finally let the calculator do most of the work. Now, let me just show you, before I forget, what the formula for this looks like. And I used to make people do this formula. Those were interesting days. Where are you? There it is. There's the formula for R. Now, I don't know if anybody realizes this, but the bottom of this formula, those are the tops of the standard deviation for X and the standard deviation for Y. Since R is some sort of 2-dimensional standard deviation, it makes sense that it has both of those standard deviations in it. How spread out is the X's, how spread out is the Y's, they're part of this formula. The top has to deal with how they commingle. What do they do together? That's where we put X and Y together. Like it. So the formula makes sense. It's just kind of a lot of busy work to get the pieces for it. So I finally decided, well, let's not do that busy work anymore. But I do want to show you, that's the formula, that's what it looks like. So let's make this calculator do some stuff. And not surprisingly, what button do you think I want to push to make it do statistical analysis? Stat. All right. So it's stat. That's our good old stat. Go to calc, and which one looks like, now what's funny to me is there's 2 of them. I just always use the first one. Which one looks like it's going to give me equation of a line? Yeah. So this whole topic is called either correlation or linear regression. Linear regression means that the larger your sample, the more likely it is for your data to regress to the line, unless it's really not correlated. So linear regression is sort of like how much do the data regress or come towards that center, that line. So that's why it's called lin-reg. Not for this class, but yes. So that quad regression would be if you have something parabolic. Cubic regression would be if you have something cubic, obviously, and so forth. Quartic regression is to the 4th power. Then here's the funny thing to me. Number 8 is the same as number 4, except they just changed the slope and y-intercept, right? So here in this one, what's the slope? What's the slope in this line right here? A. So instead of M, they use A because they're statisticians, not math people. So, we try to separate. I'm both, so I'm kind of like, I like it and hate it. Okay. So see what this thing can do. Everybody hit number 4. If you have the older calculator that doesn't show all this shit, it just says linreg on the screen, you can just hit enter. It defaults to L1, L2. So if your data is in L1 and L2, go for it. For us, make sure it says L1, L2. There's no freaky list. We'll talk about this thing later. So it should look just like that if you have the newer one. Let's see if everybody gets the same stuff. I get all that neat stuff. Some of you guys did not. Yes? Is yours the old one that has just, it says linreg? And what's it say? What's the error? Oh, okay. Let me see. Is somebody not showing up the R? Okay, how to get the R? You guys, okay. I'll show you how to get that.
Oh, you don't have to tell it. Oh, because you have to look at all this stuff. So let's tell it just a different way.
So let's get your R shown up. Got your data in there. Just turn it on. Oh, yeah, L2, L2. Let's try it. Don't worry, we're gonna get everybody's R shown. Huh? And yours is also.
Oh, I put in the list of this.
Oh, I see. All
I
right.
guess it is. Wrong list.
Yes. All right. How's everybody? Oh, yeah. Don't worry. Let's find out how to get R. Here we go. You only have to do this once. It's really silly why they make this an option because it doesn't mess anything up. For the 82, it might have made sense. It's as such a slower processor. There's a little thing you can click on or off that it won't calculate certain things, so it saves processing time. If you have an 83 and 84, that shit should have went away. Right? But oh well, it didn't. So here's how you do it, right? I say on this, on that, I'll give you the instructions here too, but let's just all do it together. If your R is not showing up, do this. Hit second, 0. Look how it says catalog. This gives you a list of every freaking thing your calculator can do. Absolute value is up at the top. It's got the AND option in there for Boolean algebra. There's all kinds of nifty shit. I don't know what Boolean means. Look it up. All right. So what I want to do is I want to go to the D section of this list. I want to get something that's called diagnostics on. So do you see where the letter D is? And you see how it's got a little A up here somewhere? Just hit the D button. Bam. And you should be the D section. Starts with day of the week. Isn't that neat? So those kids that you tell them in 1973 what day of the week was March 7th, and they go, Tuesday. That's what this does, basically, right? It's got a little freaky kid app in your calculator. You never seen that before? You should YouTube that shit. It's like, oh my God, what are you using your brain for? Okay, I have this thing called a calendar. All right, sorry. Scroll down to where it says diagnostic on. And this is that switch I was talking about. So if you turn this on, your calculator calculates a few extra things in a few places. Most importantly for us, it calculates R. Because you don't need to save processing speed if you have an 83 or an 84. Everybody with me? So then you get diagnostic on, enter, it says done. Very anticlimactic as always. Let me stop there for a minute. Everybody with me? Everybody do this. Just sort of get used to this. This is one of the most useful things. Hit second enter. Second enter. So you don't have to go back into the list. I can just go there. Or hit stat. Number 4, linreg. Blah, blah, blah. Does everybody get back there? Has everybody got their R showing up? Everybody not get that?
It's a 1 for me.
Uh-oh. Let me get there. Home. What's this syntax? Oh, you got way too much shit going on. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Just delete this. Oh, it's your one thing. Yeah. So what is my slope of my line of best fit? What's the slope of my line of best fit? What's the slope of that line that goes through the data the best? What's the slope?
Negative 2.5.
Yeah, negative 2.5. Let's make it 4. And the y-intercept is 89.8. Good Lord. What is R? Okay. The R value we get, I get negative 0.34. And that would be, now why does that make sense? Remember, this is the data, looks like this. Does that data look like it's lined up really well? Does that data look like it's lined up really well? No, barely at all. So what should be closer to, 0 or negative 1? This is a negative trend. It should be closer to 0 because they don't line up really well. But it shouldn't be exactly 0. It does have a slight downward trend, so negative 0.34 makes sense. That's very, very weak, if any, correlation. Does that make physical sense? That's okay, maybe. So let's go a little further here. If you use a line of best fit to make a prediction, would you trust that prediction? No. What kind of correlation is this? Is this a strong correlation? No. What kind would it be? Weak, negative. And actually, when I give you, on the test, when I give you this kind of problem, I'm going to tell you exactly what level. This is going to sound just like critical region kind of idea, but don't freak out. I'm not going to make you do the entire hypothesis test. But I'm going to tell you, like, R has to be above, or in this case, below negative 0.5 to show correlation. Did we get below negative 0.5? No. It's too close to 0. So really, 0 would mean no correlation. To show evidence there's correlation, it's got to be far enough away from 0. So I'm going to give you that number on the test. It's got to be greater than this or less than this. Yes?
What's the usage for R squared?
R squared is such a neat little dude. Remember what we said about how many things affect grades? How many things do affect grades? Too many things. If you think you listed them all, you're probably wrong. There's probably other things that could affect grades. R squared gives us an idea of the percentage of the change in grades related to the variable we're looking at. So there's about an 11.5% change in grades is explained by the number of beers somebody drank the night before.
Not very much.
Not very much. So there might be some other variable that accounts for a larger percentage of the change that we see. Does that make sense? So do you think the beer drinking of the night before should really affect your test grade more than anything else? No. Not in general, not for everybody. It might for one student if they're like, blackout drunk and they barely make it in. Is this history? So that student maybe, but for on an average, no. It's about 11% explained by the number of beers drank. Something else might be 30, 40% explanation. That would be the thing I want to look at. So, does that make sense? So R squared, the reason it shows it is related to the percentage that's explained by the variable I'm looking at.
It doesn't matter what variable you're looking at or how many other variables there are. It's generally R squared. It's how much
For that
one-
specific variable, I like it. I know. Now, of course, that variable could be tied in with other variables, so it still gets that mixture. But still, that's just a one-on-one, a two-variable test, the relationship between two variables, not several. So you guys do this one. Do all the same stuff with this one. So this is the hour study versus grade. Sorry? Yes. You didn't get one? That makes it hard. Okay. You got the other one, right? really sucks is if your second column is not the same size as your first. So what you want to do is, as you're putting the second column data in, make sure it's going with the number it's supposed to go with. Keeps you on track. Yes.
For it to be strong, does it all have to be on one line?
No. On the test, I will definitely give something that is obviously strong or weak. Like it's going to be 0.94 or it's going to be 0.42. I'm not going to give you something in the middle and make you have to come up with adjectives like a wine taster. It's woodsy with a hint of weakness. No. So it's moderately weak or something. That's crazy. You with me? This one, though, as an example, it's kind of like in the middle. Has anybody got the R value yet? I like it. So I got the same thing. So let's say 0.738 here. Now, we can say it's relatively how compared to this one? Is it stronger or weaker, the second one? Stronger for damn sure. But, if I had to use an adjective to describe this, I would say moderately strong or decent. It's not weak, but it's not great. Right? So on the test, I will give you one that's either going to be strong or weak. True. You will get real data. What I do very often in the final exam is I give you data like for NBA, the field goal percentage of a team versus their winning percentage. Or defensive statistics versus their winning percentage. And then I can say which one's better. Which one seems to be a better predictor for winning. Or if you don't like sports, I will do some stuff like I kind of show. Let me see if I can do something less controversial. But I did the percentage of people in a state that have a bachelor's degree and the percentage that voted for Donald Trump. And just see if there's any correlation. And there is a remarkably strong correlation. But I won't tell you what way. Right? To give away my obvious liberal wing. I don't know. Is this a strong correlation? Well, it's decently strong. What kind of correlation is it? This is where you'd say it's positive correlation. What'd you guys get for the equation? Anybody got that? Let's do this. I forgot to do this on the last problem. But let's look at this picture now. I've put new. Oh, my poor battery's almost gone. I put new data in, so I better hit Zoom 9. If you don't hit Zoom 9, it's just going to be an empty screen more than likely, or it'll look really funky. On the test, I'm going to need you to come up and show me this picture, but also have your line of best fit on here. Let's put our line of best fit on here. Just hit y equals and put our line in there. 0.657x plus 70.97. And there's a line of best fit, right where it looks to make complete sense. That looks to be the graphical average of where all the points are. Yes.
How do you add the line to this kid?
Just go to y equals and put the line in there. Don't forget your x value, your x variable. Yeah, otherwise you get this horizontal line, it should be constant. Now let me take this out for a second. Let me show you one thing from when we did this linear regression. Oh, I got to start over here. Not everybody's got one of the newer calculators, but see this where it says store regression equation? If you want, you don't have to. It's obviously easy to put it in there, but you just would hit, see where it says vars? Y variables, function, y1. It's going to store the equation in y1 instead of me having to go plug it in there. So if I hit y equals now, I'm going to get this funky. Look at that. It just gives me all the decimals. Or, a lot of them. So that's a quicker way. I mean, that's quicker. Marginally quicker, yeah. So now if I graph it, look, to my human eyes, it looks like it's in the same damn place. Okay, so I want you, everybody got that far? That's what you'll have to come up to show me. I'm going to have a little place on the test where I can initial it. And a pen color of my choosing. And then that shows that you got this part done. You have to come up and show me this. Yes. So go ahead and try to finish out this sheet. Does everybody understand this step D? You need to actually just get all the points listed. Put the x pieces in L1, put the y pieces in L2, do exactly what we just did. So go ahead and finish this sheet out. Where's my sheet? There you are. So do step D and step E. Oh, I see. Let me look that up for you.